Happy Hump Day. We are live. Let me try to block that light so there's no glare there because come on, man. You're pulling us
I know.
Batman on me, bro. You're pulling a Chrissy, you know what I mean? So good morning, guys. We have John from Underworld Exotics Limited. What's in your cup, brother?
Got some coffee that tastes like a birthday cake. Need my extra sugar, extra cream in the morning.
That's really cute. I didn't realize you had such a cute side to you. So let's see here. A bunch of people making jokes in the comments. First of all, this John's gosh, you've been around the world. This is the third show, right? You've done them all.
Right? I feel like a reptile celebrity in the past week by you. Is it a week?
No,
Yeah,
no.
the past month.
You know what's funny? One of the reasons or one of the thought processes to number one, keeping the shows at an hour is I don't think I've ever watched anyone's show for 2-3 hours. Okay. I don't have the attention span for that. And to be honest with you, they really don't remain that interesting after so long. You can only talk so much without saying the same thing over and over again and hearing the same thing over and over again and the dead time and that's a lot of time, 3 hours, right? If you get paid by the hour, I don't care if you're making minimum wage, if you're making 150 an hour, you're giving up a lot of time. So my goal was always to keep it at an hour, under an hour. Sometimes you go over that. But the fact that the three shows have three different themes, you can get the same person on three different shows and get those 3 hours, but because they're in hour clips with different themes, you actually get more out of it with less time, if that makes any sense, even though it's kind of like the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're one of the few people that have done all three shows. Congratulations.
Thank you. I
But
appreciate that. I mean, it's cool. I like doing this. I like the crew we got around here. You know, even some of the guys I don't talk to, I could just tell they're good people. All that stuff. It's good seeing that. You know, and I guess that's the whole point of even coming out into the community. Because other than that, I just stay in my basement with the snakes, and you know, a few of the cool dudes that I normally talk to. But
yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's one of the things we're going to talk about is who's cool, who's the fool, and see I look forward to this freaking sumo looking 6 foot 230 Korean every week with his wise ass remarks. I look forward to it every single week. And honestly, I wouldn't mind working at Tractor Supply Wise Guy. I heard they get a nice little discount over there. So, matter of fact, looking at this name right here, Mr. Pure Genetics himself, JAS, who puts his whole name in everything. He has no fear of the government at all.
Right.
And it's funny because he kind of lives, you know, in an area where people usually don't like the government, but he is Mr. This is my first name, middle name, last name type of guy.
It's all starting to come together now while we're friends.
Yeah, right? There goes the federal rally right there. But why don't you
got me, right?
how did we meet, John? Why don't you tell the people that he made me think about it? How did we meet?
Well, you know, I'm John from Underworld Exotics. I'm just a reptile breeder, snake breeder, ball python breeder from New Jersey. I have two really good friends in the hobby for over 5 years. You are also friends with one of them. You know how that works. One of your boys vouches for another one, and then you go from there. And then basically we ran into each other at one of the local reptile expos. Expo wasn't too great. We all went, that was the day we all went out to lunch, and it was about 10 of us. We had a good time, and that's what it's all about in a way. So, and then we've been going downhill from there.
All downhill, right?
Right.
Oh my God, Danny, I gotta we gotta talk. I haven't spoken to Danny in a while, and we were talking about possibly doing a show together. He invited me to table with him at the upcoming show. He did really well. I think he just wants me to carry his stuff around.
Well, I was gonna say that's gonna be very cute. Him and you, it's just a perfect picture. I want to see a reptile.
So here's the funny part, though. John's watering down the story. we're at I believe it was Oaks, and there were a lot of us there that day. Um, we went out to eat, I think lunch, and God, there was a good. We had over a dozen of us
Yeah.
total that were there, plus kids. It was pretty cool.
Yep.
Now some guy comes up to me and whispers in my ear. He's like,
Oh,
"All right," and I'm like,
I give
"Who
you
is
a little
who is this
hesitant. Yep.
guy?" Yeah, and I'm like, first of all, I didn't hear a word you said. All I heard was. I'm like, who's it? Like he's trying to do a drug deal with me, or he's trying to sell me a snake under the table. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got the good stuff in the parking lot. Um, and then he goes, Jose. I said, oh, you're John Underworld. All right. So automatically, and just like he said, Jose had already vouched for you. So it's kind of like in the hood, we call it a G pass. So I always say that Jose gave you a G pass. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you believe this nonsense, Saul, that they're talking about my boss? I have been the boss of me for I don't even know how long, except for
When you get
as
home.
well,
Exactly.
that's honest. That's honest. I think we all have, anyone that's married. If you're a happily married man, you have accepted the fact that your wife is your boss.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, except for my stints with the federal government, which I'm done. I've done three of them. I didn't do the military. That's it. I've given my commitment to the federal government, except for those short stints that I would do every 10 years for the last three decennial census for up to 2 years. I don't. I don't answer to nobody. All right, except for the old lady, buddy. Just so we're clear about that, Buster Brown.
Oh yeah.
All right?
I hear you.
He's over here trying to throw me under the bus. All right, so now we're talking about vouching for people, and you and I, we go offline and we talk like little gossipy golden girls, like we were old
Mm-hmm.
ladies playing bingo. It wasn't sexist, guys. There was a show called Golden Girls. It's kind of what they did, all right? Because we live in this cancel culture, and you can't say anything today.
Right. I felt
But
like I needed to give a disclaimer before even starting this.
oh man, it's absolutely crazy.
Yep.
But let's talk about that. Like that's one of the things I think is key, right? Let's talk about vouching for people because there just seems to be so much shystiness that's going on in this community, and more seems to be surfacing. That it's almost like you need to vouch or be vouched for if I'm going to deal with you. And let me tell you, there are people out there that I have vouched for that have made me look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's shame on me because one of the things that our boy Jose is very adamant about is keeping his circle extremely small.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, I think there's maybe three of us in his circle. Like he got a square. It's like four points. Him and plus three, and he's a high buy type of guy, but he keeps that tight knit circle really small.
And
But
he
I
starts
struggle with
being a little reason why. You know what I mean? Why, especially someone like you, where you're a lot more active in the community. You have a lot more people reaching out to you for big and small things, and you're trying. I take it as you're trying to do the right thing. Obviously, you're referring to certain people, or somebody's offering their services or something they can do for you. You take them up on it, and then you disappear. Never get back to you. Something like that. Um,
so I see Angie there. Shout out to Jar Pythons. You see John rocking that shirt. I don't see you up in here, Max. I'm rocking your shirt, Max. I don't see you up in here. Where you at? Where you at, Max? Probably sleeping. So the thing with me, I'm a people person. It's definitely one of the attributes. I consider it one of the attributes of most of the stuff that I've been successful at. But it's also kind of like a thorn in the side because I'm gonna take you and what you say at face value. You understand?
there's
Because
many.
Congratulations. But man, I have some questions for you, man. But I'll hit you offline. I'm gonna take you at face value because at our stage, what's the point of telling tales or lying, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Um, but what I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna,
Good, good.
I'm not gonna
Let's go
repeat
home.
that. That's what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna repeat that. But what I'm not gonna do is argue with you when you show me who you really are, right? That whole actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm not gonna argue with you when you show me um, that you're not who you say you are. Okay. So what does that mean? So we talk about vouching for people. You have to be careful. And guys, I've done it. I've experienced it. I've been bamboozled at a stage where I never thought somebody could pull the wool over my eyes. All right. So
Well, I think
have you?
what happens is sometimes you put your guard up because you're trusting them, you're letting them in, and like I said, you put your guard down. You sort of accept that person how he is until he drops the ball, and then cut him off. But uh, I need more coffee. I'm trying to.
No, you're right. Look at what H&M Exotics is saying. Hugh's and we know it's Hugh because he still hasn't proven whether or not there's really a Melissa. We're still waiting to see his other half. She's like Snuffleupagus, just like Chino. Chino's wife was a Snuffleupagus until I went to his house and I was like, holy shit, you really are married. I saw his wife. I'm like, wow, you really do exist.
Or until she tased him in the armpit, man.
Yeah, no,
I think that was one of the first times I
yeah,
saw it.
that came later.
Yeah.
She really doesn't like being on video. But Hugh just said it that he
That's
had
like
a
mine
small
too.
circle. He had a small circle of 6, and now it's down to 5. Okay, that's interesting, and this is another person that we've had conversations, and he's a very straightforward individual. Patrick's a very
Mm-hmm.
straightforward individual, and he's like, I don't really mess around with a lot of people.
Yep.
He
I could tell.
keeps
I
it.
spoke to him a few times as well, and he's smart. I mean, I think the main thing that I always have to set myself back is to realize you have your family, you have your friends, everything else, everything that's really important in life, and then we do this as an outlet. My snakes are an outlet for me to come home, keep myself busy after work, after a hard day. Makes me feel good when everything's clean at the end of the day. Get into Instagram, hit up a few people like that. Like I have my close Jose, a few, not really many others. Keep them as that core group of family and friends. But then I also get out into the social media world and to realize what's important sometimes, I think. And
I think
realize,
I think that's what we have to look at. But my thing is, I want to apologize. I had a conversation with someone earlier this week, and based on my, I guess, vouching for someone, they almost got themselves into a bad situation. And guys, there's a lot of accounts being taken down. That's a whole other topic that we could get into because I'm wondering, is Instagram really making all these mistakes, or all of
no.
these accounts with mega followers seem to maybe have done something to get those followers that went against Instagram's terms and conditions, and maybe that's why now they're catching up to them. You got 700,000 followers and you get 3 likes on a post and 4 people on a live. That's pretty interesting to me when we look at the percentages, and all of a sudden all these accounts are getting taken down. For the record, before any of you get feel some type of way for that comment, if Instagram takes your account down accidentally, there is a process for them to reinstate it. Just so you know, okay? So for everybody that thinks everybody's account's being taken down accidentally, there is a process for them to reinstate it. All you have to do is fill out a piece of paper. They go through the whole investigation, and voila, the Instagram is back. Um, But I want to apologize. Matter of fact, you and I were having a conversation, and you almost got caught up in this person. Oh, so the reason why we're not mentioning names, and if you have any questions, please DM me. But the reason why we're not mentioning any names, we don't want anything to come across as harassment or bullying or threatening, because that too would violate terms and conditions and would threaten your account, my account, etc. So if you think you know who we're talking about, you probably do know who we're talking about in these different scenarios we're discussing. And if you
And if
want
you think
clarification,
it's about you, it might be about you.
no, if you think it's about you, it is
It
about
probably
you.
is. Yeah.
It is about you. So you had told me, and it's nonsense, right? It to me, it's
Probably not.
nonsense. Like, like in your situation, there was a person that I pretty much vouched for, and you asked for some simple assistance, and they just gave you the runaround for like weeks, and you never reached out to me. Now, that's one of the things I think that we need to discuss with people. Like, why? Like, why don't we? Is it because you didn't want to make me feel a certain way? But you didn't mention that until I said, oh, this person did A, B. I
All right.
went through the alphabet.
Let's put it like this. Like you said, I mean, that wasn't the first person. There was probably a good 3, 4 people, and I think you do the same with me. You send some people my way for certain, topics in a way. This person, he's well known. I mean, it was more just general question. No, there was assistance involved, but there was no follow through with it, and I understand. I don't even want to get into that shit. I
Look,
just
people,
see
look,
here's
we got Anthony's making apologies over here. I'm sorry,
oh
John. I
please,
took
Ant,
so
come
long.
on, bro. See, that's the thing. I'll tell you a million times. I don't care about that stuff, and Ant knows. Ant, come on, you could have said another few months, but
Listen, I've been to Ant's mom's house, okay? He sent me to his mom. His mom's like, how dare you send people to my house?
but I think it was the fact, like I said, the dude didn't help. I needed to help. What was going to be the point of hitting you back up and be like, oh, the dude you sent me? I know you didn't do it maliciously. You did it trying to help as well. You weren't able to do it. You knew somebody else that could. You sent him my way. He wasn't able to. I still needed it either way.
I screwed up. I sent someone that I thought could because of what I was told numerous times
No, I get it.
uh,
And I get it.
throughout our
No, but
communication.
here's the thing. The first communication, he told me as well that he can do it. And then for, a few days afterwards, it was a runaround. And then I'm not the guy that's going to be like, hey, man, like, that's not me. I'm going to get it taken care of. And the only reason I reached out is because it seemed like an olive branch and to maybe even develop a relationship there, which actually, it is what it is. I'm not saying the dude's not cool. I mean, it is. I'm not
I
even
had
saying.
issues. I had issues though with Steve, right?
Just put it out there.
My snake wife, Steve,
Oh, okay. I'm thinking.
because of the same individual, because I kept delaying purchasing certain things because I was supposed to purchase it from them. And again, I wasn't looking for a handout. If you're someone that I like what you're doing, it could be, again, your family, maybe your professional field, maybe you have great stuff with the animals, whatever the case is, and we build that rapport. Obviously, I want to support you. I speak about it all the time. I prefer to keep my money within my network, right? If you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna give
Yep.
someone money, you might as well give it, right? So if I want something and you sell that something, why wouldn't I give it to you? And again, I don't look for discounts because my thing is I was gonna spend the money anyway. Um, and when coming from a world of sales, you just start to learn to hate the discounts, and it all comes back, right? It's a full circle. There's a few people that have purchased animals for me, and I tell them like this. They're like, well, how much for this? How much for that? I said, make me a fair offer. And now I've had one get scared, and he's like, well, what if my offer is more than what you want? I said, how about this? I'll write down my offer. I'll take a picture of it right now, okay, holding up a finger or whatever I said so he could identify it. I said, if your offer is more than what I'm willing to take for it, you'll go with my number, right? So far, everyone that's made an offer has offered me more than I was willing to take from them. Now, usually I'm willing to take less because they're some of our greatest viewers, consistent viewers, people that are always there if I need help, if I reach out and ask a question, whatever the case is. So that's pretty cool that when you ask for a fair price, they come at you and they give you something fair, and they're not trying to undercut you. Or we always talk about it. In this industry, you put a lot of time, energy, effort, food into the animals that you're breeding. It's really not just an egg that hatch. It's really, especially if you had that as a hatchling or you hatch that animal to breeder size, it's years of time and investment that you put into it. So when you ask for a price, you know, it should be fair and you deserve the price you're asking for. So when people start saying, "Oh, what's the best you can do?" or et cetera, um, you have to understand that.
I go back
So
and forth with that. I get she yells at me and tells me, "Don't put that on somebody. Don't put that pressure on somebody to make the decision when you have it listed for 300. You have an offer in your head. I guess you're either thinking 250, 225 is your lowest. Just let them know your lowest. But I go back and forth on that as well. I kind of want to put it in there, and make them feel like they made a good offer, got a little bang for their buck type of thing. But
So Hugh, yes, you definitely were one of them. You're definitely one of our most supportive people. You did your first live with me, so I was glad that we were able to get to an agreement. And I love the fact that when I tell people, they offer me something like, no, give me this much, which is less money, because number one, it's not going to make or break me, and number two, I'm also excited about the connection and the relationship that we're establishing, because especially if you have one of Samson's babies, it's like I know the person that it's with. I get to contact you down the road, see what you're doing, see what it develops, etc. So
let's go back to that, because I don't know if we're definitely talking about the same person, but we were talking about the same story though, where, like you said, you have someone who's they're definitely both in our circle, to where making comments, doing all that stuff on YouTube. So that person who either one of us are talking about are in our circle. We
he said
respond a
he
certain
said he
way.
guys. He just gave you a clue. He said he.
Yeah, right. So they're being referred around, like the one that you referred to me. You sent them to me to try to get some information. I'm going to call him an asshole right now, because the dude asked me about 10 questions, and every single time he'd ask me a question, he'd go and do the complete opposite or do his own thing. I get it. Everybody wants to get their opinions from somebody else. But then when they're posting their shit that they did wrong and telling everybody that this is the way it is and everything else, there becomes a point where I'm not the type that I'm going to go posting on his posts what he's doing wrong. I'm going to send him a message and saying, here, you're doing this, this, and this. And when he's either responding back to me and lying or ignoring me completely, that's probably when I'm going to hit you up and say, hey, go do your thing. And, go. And here's the deal. Here's him lying, being shady, or thinking I'm lying, or possibly
You got people scratching their head like, did I do that? You got Slater like, was that me?
No, not you.
So it's funny because Chino shares that same frustration, DMJ Reptiles, where look, like Jason, shut that mud up, man. Jason and I do the Keepers Corner for newer keepers and breeders, and we always say it. We share different best practices. We bring on other established breeders to share their best practices. The whole point is there's more than one way to skin a cat. But don't ask me for my opinion.
Dude.
Huh? Say that again?
Somebody, I'm not actually talking about him. Someone's feeling the type of way and sending me messages now. But it's funny because
I love it. I love it. So don't ask for my opinion and then tell me I'm doing it wrong. You see where I'm coming from? If you can do it a different way and achieve the same result, more power to you. If that's more of your comfort zone or your process, and we get to the same destination, that's okay. That's fine. Don't tell me I'm doing it wrong and this is why I'm doing it wrong. Or don't disregard the advice and then say, "Oh, woe is me that this happened." You were warned. Okay, you were warned, and you were given advice for it not to happen. You chose not to follow it.
Yep.
So speaking of shiesty stuff, another thing that's going on a lot, okay, is we have a ton of people being taken for hets, and people are getting exposed lately because the hets, those hatchlings, have grown to size and are now
Not proven
not
out.
not proving out.
That's where I think
So,
we got on this the other day, because there was about 5 of them over the weekend that it happened to.
and we're starting to see more and more posts about het. Now, for the record, guys, I do agree. You can have a horrible, horrible, horrible experience
Mm-hmm.
where you have an entire clutch not prove out, and the odds just crushed you. Okay, you can have that. Yes, make your own hets. Okay, um, but on multiple clutches, no, it's not happening. Not on three clutches that you hit that crappy odds on every single one. Okay, so Slater says I was gonna say that I was interested in a head but afraid to pull the trigger. First of all, I've never been a fan of heads until Jose. Jose literally like been pushing me, and I don't know if you guys seen the post I put up yesterday, Samson, with that clutch. It's one of the craziest clutches I've ever seen. Um, there's heads involved that made this clutch. The thing, that clutch can buy a house. Let's just put it that way. It could buy a house. What he hit on this clutch from heads, hidden heads. There was a hidden head in there. Okay. Um, so he made me a believer, and I started with the heads. But just for someone like Slater or anyone else, that number one, always try to work with someone you know. Again, keep your money in your network. Okay, try to work with somebody you know. Number two, if you have to, and I had this conversation with Elijah. Ask for photos. Ask for photos of the clutch. Today we take pictures of everything. Okay. Ask for photos. I want to see the pairing. I want to see the visuals, right? Because if it's a head and they're telling you it's a proven breeder that proved out on that gene, right? Then there's gonna be visuals in the clutch. I want to see my snake in that clutch
You want to
with
see a
its.
lock. You want to see a lock. You want to see pictures of the pairing. You want to obviously go through his Instagram. Make sure he's not pairing it to something else earlier in the year. Something like that as well. Here's the one thing that we didn't go along, though, with the hets that you do have to worry about. A lot of the bigger guys, if they're going to pair for hets, sometimes they won't even they won't pair that female the year before to make sure there's no retained sperm. So all of a sudden, when those normal babies come out and it's coming from the male the year before, they're selling hets for this, but it was actually this. That's where honest people might be screwing other people. But the thing that we were going along was people were listing they were buying them and then relisting them 2 months later with hets on them, where the one guy
and,
caught it. He just saw
and
it. It was on.
and there's identifying markers. So it,
Exactly.
it was funny when it comes to this because I was on both sides of the fence with one situation where the person that I just got tired of all the lies and the stories told me that they sold it thinking it was a proven het. Well, thinking it's a proven het and those words coming out of your mouth saying that it's a proven het, it's two different stories. False advertising, right? You can't think something's a proven het. Someone else told you that. You can say I bought it as a proven het, but you can't say that it's a proven het. Okay. Um, and then I got a phone call from the person that bought it. So that's the crazy part that I heard from both of the people. Now the person that purchased it, this is the character of this person. And both people, I've seen them in the comments, just for the record. Okay. For all you Magnum PIs that want to start figuring stuff out. Like I said, I'm not having my account shut down for bullying or harassment or any other false accusations. Feel free to DM me. I don't want you to get swindled out there. And when the person that called me to ask me advice on what they should do, it was a whole different story. Okay. And their character, they never once mentioned the person that they purchased the snake from. They mentioned that it was sold to them. They mentioned that they had 3 clutches, and I never buy heads from New Jersey. They mentioned I have gotten heads from locals where I know what they have, or from someone I feel I can trust after questions. That's the best route to go. So, long story short, they were left hanging, like no resolution. Now, fortunately, because of this person's character, the person they sold the snake to said, because you were honest with me, because you were straightforward with me, we're good. Just remember this in the future in case I want to pick something else up from you, that you make it right.
Mm.
Okay. And that's where having good character comes into play. Okay. That's where they come into play. Oh, listen, I'm upset with you, sir. I'm upset with you, okay? You've been very distant from me lately, Mr. Gomez. All right? Very, very distant. But speaking about heads, that freaking cinnamon double head G-stripe hypo is amazing, guys. If I didn't just pick up hypo cinnamon from No Limit, I definitely would have picked up that girl. That girl's pattern is awesome. And I do vouch for Mr. Gomez. For the record, I will put that here. I vouch for him. He could be a prick, but I will vouch for him all day. Now, I am looking at the boys. Who knows? I really don't need it right now. I got to wait 2 years, Sal, but even the boys are nice. I don't know. Maybe if you don't sell it in like a month, I'll go and harass you. Again, don't need a discount. Somebody that you want to take care of. But then he'll go and drop the price anyway, so I'm not gonna fight the guy for it. But yeah, ask for verification. If somebody is offended in a business, to verify their service, their product, they're in the wrong business, or they're not gonna do well in sales. So feel free, okay, to do it. Feel free to ask them for verification. Now, talking about bosses, I want to know, just for the record, does your boss know that you watch this live while you're working? Because Danny's been working for a couple of hours, guys, and he said that he does half-ass work and really rushes it so he could get on this show and harass me. So, guys, heads, get somebody to verify the the person that you're trying to buy heads from. Ask for photos. Ask for photos of locks. Ask for clutch mates. I remember a pair. I actually purchased 3 blade head clowns, and I needed all of that. I had no shame asking for any of that. He sent me photos. I was literally matching up the patterns in the clutch to make sure they were the same snakes with the visuals. There were 2 visuals. The rest were head, and I was making sure that the 3 that I got were in that photo with the visuals. So
I think what you have to do is also, if you're going to get into it, you got to understand your hets. The person I'm talking about, not the guy who messaged me, the guy who I've been talking about the whole time, he was the one who didn't have visuals on either end of the pairing, and then all of a sudden the babies are 100% hets. Now, that's where I couldn't tell if it was going along the lines of he was joking, he didn't know, he was being shady about it completely, or if it was a mental health thing. Either way, when it comes to high-end animals, you're labeling something as 100% double het this and this, and there's no visuals on either side. Where comes the point where you have to protect possibly, Jose, who might want to buy those animals? He thinks that they are what they're labeled, but they're not at all.
no, well, all right, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You can, all right. So let's just say
So, like,
you
he's supposed to help out, but he has no idea what he's doing, or it obviously seems like it from after the fact.
right, because I'm just thinking that there have been cases, like for example, the clutch that Pure Genetics just had.
Mm-hmm.
He hit um a gene that he didn't know was in the snake, right?
Yes. Yep.
that he purchased from Ozzy. Everybody knows who Ozzy is, very reputable breeder. And even asked Ozzy, like, well, was this in there? He's like, I don't remember, man. That was so long ago. Very straightforward.
You're not talking about the yellow belly. You're talking about the het, right?
I'm talking about the het.
Yep. Yeah.
So he hit a pied, right? So obviously there's pied on both sides, but one of them was known to carry the pied gene.
Yeah.
You see? So to not have it on both sides and hit, that's lotto. That's very, very slim
that thing is, yeah.
that's very slim chances.
That's obviously the good side of the the het the het story that we're talking about. That's that's not what we're talking about. Getting a surprise het. We're talking about when you're trying to buy a het pied and you're sitting there for 3 years growing that girl up, and then you get 0 pieds in the clutch, and then you doubt yourself, and then you go a second year, and you still get no pieds in the clutch, and then that's where you just kick yourself in the ass for trying to save the extra $50 by getting that het from some fucker who you shouldn't have.
So Slater saying that he had a guy at a reptile shop look at his hatchlings, say they were 100% het pied because of belly markers, normal bamboo disco. That's been an argument there in itself as far as het markers are concerned. Het markers do not in any way, shape, or form cannot be taken at face value. They could increase the odds where if they have it, there's a better chance because historically it's shown when a snake has these markers that they prove out, but there are many that have those het markers that don't prove out. So there's still not a reputable way or verifiable way to prove hets. Speaking about hets, Dr. Hannah hit me up yesterday, and she said that they are very close to identifying the genes for the yellow belly complex, the blue-eyed Lucy complex, clown, black pastel cinnamon, which means they may be the same, and banana coral glow, which are also the same, and ghost. So how exciting is that they'll have the test in place for yellow belly, guys, where you no longer have to roll the dice and wait 2 years to find out if you have a yellow belly or I say asphalt, okay, it's my New York City accent, or all these like a het ghost or
that's gonna be a good one for me.
That's gonna kill. It's gonna kill a lot of people that do their hustles. It's gonna kill. I have some. Hey, what's up, Serge? I have Danny. I got some super. I got some het super normals for you, man. So just give me a call and I will take care of you. Not all hets have markers, and not all markers prove out. So that's the point of the story. And yes, the yellow belly.
Here's another thing that I just heard about with. I mean, I guess it's sort of like no, it's not hets, but the yellow belly asphalt thing. I heard something from a good friend of mine the other day that her breeder. Oh shit! I just gave it away again. Her breeder is going to
her guys. Put
her
those
breeder. She is buying a yellow belly / asphalt. Now she's buying it at an asphalt price. Her breeder is giving her not the option, but basically he's saying if it proves out yellow belly and not asphalt, he's going to give her, I think it was say half of what the snake was, or to a certain point, she's basically going to give her money if it didn't prove it out to be asphalt. Now that's great. I would trust that breeder 100% to be getting that guarantee back, but some of the little guys that are if they're gonna start going on that train, I mean, I like Danny. I would probably trust Danny, but I don't see the other random guy trusting myself, a smaller breeders like that, to pay him back in a few years. And if they do, I feel like that's just going to run down another path where, trusting people and then getting your hopes.
So here's the deal. And it's funny you say that. First of all, guys, they wouldn't be able to create these tests and have this done if you did not send in your sheds. Keep sending in your sheds. This is just a spreadsheet that I put together with the sheds. Real simple. It has a number to identify each shed. All of this information is actually in the Ziploc bag. Then it has the date that it's shed or estimated date. Then it has male or female. It has any of the clutch mates that might be in the package as well. So that way they see that they're from the same clutch or father, child, or however. And then the list of genes. Okay, yes, up to 7. Up to 7. That's right, in one animal. So keep sending in those sheds. If you have any questions, DM me or go to episode 28 of the Keeper's Corner. But that is so awesome to hear that this is happening. It's sad. It's sad that we do have swindlers, but in every aspect of life, guys, there are people out there that aren't straightforward, and most hustlers don't come out straightforwardly and say, "Hey, I'm a hustler, and I'm going to try to hustle you." Why don't we do the opposite of that? Why don't you sell it as it's not a het with an agreement that if it proves out, you send me the difference in money, or you send me a snake? How about that one? How about I'll charge you this one? I'd rather get the snake, to be honest with you, right? Send me a female in 3 years. It'll be worth more than the difference in the money, any way you want to look at it, right? Send me the difference in 3 years via female snake if it proves out that it does have the gene. But to sell something as a maybe, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And guys, you're allowing it to happen if you're paying the price. Someone else out there will sell you the animal as a possible and at a possible price. And if it proves out, you got a hell of a deal. Okay. But you got bamboozled if it doesn't, because more often than not, this whole possible thing is just a sales ploy. It's a sales ploy because when it doesn't prove out, they say, I said it was a possible. I guess it wasn't. So think about that.
Yeah. If
I
it's too
don't
good
have
to be true.
paradox down, just for the record, Danny, and that's a great question, even though I don't know if you're being serious. I never know when you're being serious. But I have paradox down so that way they can start doing tests to see if there's any way to prove out how paradox takes place. Just like they're trying to figure out the wobble in snakes. So although they're doing this to identify genes, it's just good for them to have that information because you don't know what it's going to prove down the road. Okay. All right, wise guy. Whether or not, but it sounded like a serious question for once. For once, you sounded like you were being serious. So yeah, that's definitely going down. What else? What else is going out down in the gossipy world? Oh yeah, like I said, guys, don't do any funny stuff with your Instagram accounts. We've said it a million times. Followers on Instagram, they really don't do much for you. I guess they when you get to the mega numbers, they do affect the algorithms. I guess the more people that are following you, but what's the point of being a reptile person and having 40,000 people from 40,000 different places that have nothing to do with reptiles, never follow any of your stuff, et cetera, et cetera.
You
I've
have
seen
no idea the headaches that come with a $40,000. I'm $40,000, 40,000 following. You know the people that are messaging you every single day, and you got to stay on top of that stuff, and that becomes a full-time job. I mean, with just with 15 messages a day, I can't even imagine doing that. Trying to get home and go through your thing. Everybody's busy. Everybody's got their stuff to do. But when you got some other guys that aren't busy at all and want to have a full conversation with you.
Somebody mentioned there that they were making 50% hats, and it's funny that you mentioned that, Mac, because I've told them straightforward. I put no confidence into that. That's like if it would have hit, congrats. But for you to waste a season trying to prove out a 50% het, to me, is a waste of an animal. It's a waste of time. Of course, you have the opportunity to create 100% het, but unless that was the route you wanted to go from the beginning, I wouldn't waste a season on a 50% het.
Unless you can send shed testing. I can't even talk.
But that's where the ball python genetics project will revolutionize ball python breeding by not having to wait all that time and knowing ahead that possible this or possible that does indeed carry the gene, because that's what the test does. It tells you if it carries the gene, how many copies of the gene. So if it's a super, it tells you that it carries 2 copies of the gene. So that is awesome, and I'm really excited that we're seeing that. So only if it's a monsoon. Somebody got jokes. Somebody got jokes. So yeah, guys, just keep that in mind. Don't go out there purchasing from anyone that. Matter of fact, Jose made that comment, and I remember saying, I called him bougie. I used to tell him you're Rodeo Drive, and there's a strip in the Bronx called Fordham Road where you can go buy like cheap stuff. And I'm like, dude, you're Rodeo Drive. I'm Fordham Road. Because every one of freaking Jose's snakes are like high end, like Louis Vuitton and Gucci. You know what I mean? But he said it. He goes, when I'm making these investments, I want to make sure I know where I'm getting it from and who I'm getting it from. So he does pay top dollar for his ingredients, we can say. But look
And you
at
can
that.
see it's paying off. I was going to say, and you can see it's paying off. It's the right thing. It's the right way to go. And people should be following suit, basically. And I think a lot of people are. And then you see a lot of people get out after a year and a half, 2 years. They do their first breeding, and their hets don't prove out, and they're gone. But if you're doing it the right way, you're going down that path. You're going to stay in it for a while, as long as you don't.
Not only do the X not prove out, they didn't have a business plan. I tell people all the time, Samson's 9 years old. He has breeding down. You take the male, you put it in the female's tub. Voila. I mean, it's not that hard. Wait for the female to get to a certain size. Wait for the male to get to a certain size. Have an idea of what you're trying to make. It's guys. I hate to bust anyone's bubble. You're really not a geneticist. This really isn't rocket science. A lot of this work has been paved.
It's there.
Exactly.
All the information's there. It's there, and that's where I think we go off on those tangents, because all this information's out there, and then everybody can interpret it a certain way. But when you start seeing a guy interpret it all this crazy way, and doing all this other stuff, I think that's where I was saying, are you misrepresenting yourself, the community? What are you doing there? But
then you have these people that we all know it becomes an addiction. They start. I love it.
yeah.
First year, second year keepers are on the hunt. They want as many adult female breeders as possible. Anybody selling female breeders because they just have that bug. They have that
all
itch.
they're doing is talking about the money, basically. Yeah, oh, this clutch is going to get me this, and this clutch is going to get me this. Come on, stay in the market for a little longer, and you'll see how everything just goes up and down and up and down. And
but then they have 8 clutches, 9 clutches, and no one to sell the babies to.
Yeah, there's always people to sell the babies to, but
all those likes on Instagram didn't translate. They didn't translate to sales. People like you from a distance. They like your gimmick, but now you have, let's just say 40, right? 8 clutches, 40 freaking babies. We're going at a 5 egg average. You have 40 babies. You're holding back 8 to 12 of them, right? That's a lot of snakes to move. Who are you selling them to? Are you selling them at market value, or are you dropping your pants just to unload them? Because if not, now all you've done was you've bred a ton of expenses by feeding, housing, and everything else that takes place with an additional 2 dozen, 3 dozen snakes, right?
Yep.
Later, if I can hatch eggs, anyone can. Not necessarily so. You're a freaking farmer, man. This has to be a lot easier than half the stuff that you do. Okay. And yes, I think when you say you have to be ready to move snakes, guys, I think you should start getting ready to move snakes before they even hatch. Okay. Anticipate you're not keeping the entire clutch, right? Hell, I told Jose just freaking hatched a gold mine, hit the lotto. I'm like, that's a holdback clutch. He's like, I can't hold them all. So if you do have the opportunity to get a second mortgage on your homes, guys, go do it. Hit up Jose. He got some fire. Okay. All right, but we are talking pretty pennies. So my brother, I'll talk to you soon. All right. Don't cheat on me. Pick up the phone.
Got to get the Candy Clown stuff from Gomez at some point. That was the one
Yeah,
clutch that tank
You're the
this
two
year.
guys. You're the two candy guys. Like Gomez has always been the candy. I can't wait to next year. I'm going for the candy pie. We'll see if that freaking head candy that cinnamon head that cinnamon head candy possible head pie. We'll see if she proves out. She got beautiful markers. Everybody that sees her says she definitely has pied. We'll see. We'll
She's
see.
gonna prove out because you see that Gomez puts out the time. He puts out the content, the pictures, the proof that's gonna show that that pairing was legit. That's the way it was.
I don't know. That guy, he's
Yeah,
more of
but
a rap.
yeah, okay, you're right. Don't be
He's
snapping
more
me
he's
into
more
your
of a rap breeder. He's more of a rap breeder these days than a snake breeder. Matter of fact, I was dying yesterday. I was gonna harass him like, oh no, literally the first of all, I love cinnamon, but they're double hets. I love G Stripe and I love Ghost. So I'm just like, wow, that's an amazing combination right there.
Mm.
Um, but I haven't seen him post a snake in a while. So I was like, oh, you still breed snakes? Because I thought you only bred rats these days, you know? Um, so what else? What else is out there? You see a lot of people turning to raffles. You see a lot of people turning to spin to wins. Okay. Um, just so you know, that's work. I've had people hit me up about that as well, and I'll tell them my formula is not rocket science, but it's taken time. Uh, my first one was with Saul's Balls, who was here earlier. And then I started watching Dave from Ball in Hand, and I was like, this looks like fun. I was doing it more to have the fun. And if you ever watch any of my STWs, which I jacked off of Jerome, I don't do spin to wins for the record.
You
Raffles,
wait, what'd you say? You what, Jerome?
I I said jack, not jerk. Jack, jack.
Yeah.
I jacked that off of Jerome where I do stickers to win. See, I sell stickers. Okay. And there's a possibility I just might give away a snake for free. And the reason being is that it doesn't matter what state you're in because there's different raffle laws in all the states, but it is illegal just in every state. It's federal to
But we all
collect.
we all know what we're doing with that. We're doing that to try to bring people together and also get rid of an animal and do it for like a contest and everything like that. I mean, I guess there's two sides of the story with that. I don't think it's ruining the hobby. I mean, I kind of understand one aspect of those people that say that. I think they're talking about the whole auction thing where you're getting it for where the rest of the market is going to think it's a $200 snake now because at auction it was $200 and everywhere else it's listed for $400. But now that it got sold at auction for $200, that's the market for it. It doesn't work like that. That was one animal, and then we move on to the next. It's
I
the market
remember
is
that.
as strong as you make it. Correct?
I remember that, and that made me think. Well, if I bought a Lamborghini or somebody gifted me a Lamborghini,
Yeah.
it doesn't change the value of that Lamborghini. The mileage on it will change it, and there's other factors. But what I got that Lamborghini for is not going to change the value of that Lamborghini. So,
Yeah.
so jacked means jerked. All right. So I'm going to retract
Exactly.
that
You.
statement. All right. I'm going to retract that statement, and I took the idea from Jerome. Okay, regarding that, and again, the reason being why. Because to collect an electronic payment, which is what everybody does for any form of raffle, is a federal offense. So no raffles from me, guys. But you see a lot of people that are jumping into this whole raffle spin to win thing because they're trying to unload snakes. They're not doing it to have fun. They
Oh yeah. Yeah.
they just push a button and get rid of the snake. Some of them look shisty. You have to be careful about that. We've had those experiences as well. Never get the snake, or there's other issues, etc., etc. So,
I mean,
and they're
hey,
not
if
easy.
you feel like throwing in $10 to one of these things and that gets you in and it gets you a little more involved, and you could care less about that $10, fine. But I guess if you get screwed by it and you want to pitch a fit, didn't you sort of jump into that spot yourself?
Yeah,
No, I guess you did. Yeah, that's a double-edged thing as well.
but it's work. What people don't
Oh,
realize is it's
100%.
work. I mean, you want to get 40, 50 spots. That's work. You need to have, I would say, a network of at least 10 times the amount of the spots you want to get that, because you have to remember it's very common now. So people are doing this on a weekly basis. So you'll be one
Mm-hmm.
of many options out there. So where am I going to throw my $10? You understand? where am I gonna throw my $10? Cam, congratulations. I know you did it, but I also know that you know how much work it was to get it filled in.
How do you
I've
feel though? How do you feel though? Like I understand when someone's putting out a pair of snakes and that is valued, I'd say around 400, so they're collecting 40 spots at 40. Now, how do you feel about the people that they're buying a $500 whatever incubator, but they're putting it up there for $1,000 worth of spots? And I understand it is your time, it's everything that goes into it. And do you put that? I mean, I guess I put that on the people who are gonna join. If they want to do that, then that's on them, correct?
Wait, I just want to clarify
We
this.
just talk about stickers.
If you bought a sticker from me and you didn't get it yet, I'm blaming the post office, even though it's not true. I am the worst. There was a time, I think we're past the time with the post office. Just DM me if I owe you stickers. I promise you. And matter of fact, we have new magnets that we got recently. So if you ever bought a sticker for me and you did not get it, hit me up, send me a DM. I will send you a sticker or a magnet. Shame on me. Okay, shame on.
That was going to be my disclaimer at the beginning. I'm not perfect. I definitely do some things that are that I would have issues with. And sorry, Troy. I'm sorry, a bunch of you guys that still have your stickers. You'll get them. I just want to make sure you're still in the hobby 6 months later. So, but
Exactly.
no, I'm
No,
an asshole for that, and I'll get them out, and they'll get out. But
no, it's not. It's not 6 months. It's 3 years. I have the 3 year list.
yeah,
Will you still be here in 3 years? And no, just like het markers, there's no way to really tell.
until
There's
you
some
breed it.
people that show certain indications. It's human factor. It's reading a human, and it's just like, I don't think you're gonna be. You're running. You're training for a sprint in a marathon. You understand? And you
Mm-hmm.
can't keep that pace. You can't keep that pace for a sprint when you're running a marathon. You have to pace yourself. You have to break down the marathon into certain, manageable parts. So you're not going to run at that speed and cross the finish line. Pace yourself, guys. We say it all the time. Have a plan. Stick to your plan. Don't be jumping all around. If you jump all around, guess what? You're starting over every time. Okay. Don't burn bridges. Create relationships. Don't burn your bridges because you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy we were talking about.
Well, it's fun.
Telling
No, like I said, I wasn't talking about him. He messaged me. Definitely talking about him now. He knew what he was. I mean, you could come back with your excuses. We saw each other on lives and comments. He knew it was there, and he didn't do it. I mean, he just said that he helped my boy out the other day in a second when he messaged me. But like I said, we were messaging for a good week and a half, and I didn't want to be on his ass. I'm not going to do that. We're all busy. I got 2 jobs. I got 2 hustles. And he probably has the same. If you as well, you have kids. I get that, but don't keep telling them, I got you. Drop the ball, and then message me now and be like, yo, but you said you had all this time. Get the fuck out of here. You knew you weren't going to come at me and do that for me until you felt the type of way now, like I was talking about you. And that wasn't the case.
Exactly. Exactly.
With your issues, that might be a different story. I mean, but that's another day. And
As far as the markup is concerned, I people have asked me, Brian, how much should I do this for? How much should I do that for? To me, look up the market value of the animal and add shipping. Okay, because it should be no difference to me when you're doing an STW or a raffle. It should be no difference than if you were selling it on Morph Market. Now, when it comes to an incubator, whatever the case is, obviously they're doing that to make money. If it's a fundraiser,
that's where I was going. How do you feel about that? The people that are making money off of the auctions, off of the raffles, stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is.
if it's a fundraiser, then I don't care if it's $100 snake that they're asking for $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Where you put your money, to me, is up to you. People are always gonna spend money where they want to. So if it's a fundraiser, I remember this happened a few weeks ago when we were talking about chat. Matter of fact, we were talking about the girls, and it was a challenge for the girls that was getting matched. If if it's a fundraiser, that's your choice, right? A lot of times, the fundraiser, you don't even want the animal. Okay, I've been in a lot of fundraisers that I even asked up front, if I win this, would you mind if I gave it away? Okay, maybe I don't need it. and it's not a sign of disrespect. Maybe I have the gene 20 times in my collection. If I won this, do you mind if I include it in the giveaway, right? 1,000 subscriptions, guys. I get 1,000 subs on YouTube. We already have 8 snakes to give away. And one of those is a double het pied albino that I don't need. And the first thing I asked when I was in that was, would you mind if I gave it away? I won it. I was told, yes, you could give it away. I actually give the person credit, who's Chino from DMJ Reptiles. He was doing a live with Chad from Richie's Recessives. And I give them the credit for donating the snake. Although I won it and it's mine, he gets the credit for making that donation to this mega giveaway, 1,000 subs. Get your people to get in there so we can do this mega giveaway. At least 8 snakes, guys, at least. So if it's a fundraiser, someone is sick, someone had a tragedy, I don't care what they put it for. If it's just you trying to unload a snake and make money off of it, I don't think that you should go above market value. Plus, I say what's fair is $100 shipping. So if it's a $400 snake and you put it up for 500, that's fine. I love it when someone local wins because you get to keep that shipping. I say it all the time. I had a bunch of people win from New Jersey. I'm crossing the bridge. Bridge costs what, $16? I get to keep the other 84. I'm like, yeah, go Jersey. I started rooting for New Jersey because they were winning so many of my STWs, you know?
It was all Anthony. It was all Ant who was winning them all. Didn't he win
He
5?
hit me up. We were going back and forth, and he said the return of the Raffle King, because I remember when I first started watching, I thought Ball in Hand was a hustler. Him and Ball in Hand were hustling because he won 3 in a row off of him.
Yeah.
And then he won 2 more, one of mine and someone else's. So I think he won 5 in a row from 3 different people. That's sick.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're ever going to win again, Ant, to be honest with you. I don't think you're ever going to win again. But then you have to be careful with these fundraisers. Like I remember DBG. That's the only raffle I ever won. Oops, I said a name. Well, they don't exist anymore because we made it clear that nonsense wasn't going to take place. Actually, Ball in Hand won a raffle and never got it from him. Ironically, the guy who I call the raffle king, Ball in Hand. But I actually had to be persistent to get my prize. It's the only time I've ever won my lucky number 22 that sucks and never wins, you know. And they rode the coattails of everything that was going on in Texas and saw what was happening as far as people just giving money away and trying to help, and said that their entire don't you work in dirty Jersey and you drink that dirty water every day, that toxic water?
Especially where he works.
I know, right? So they, is that Erin? Because I've never seen Erin with her whole name up there. Oh, that is Erin. Good morning, my dear. How are you, my dear? Hey, what's up, Charlie? How you doing? What's up, Troy? I never do the what's ups, but since they're joining us so late, matter of fact, all of you go to the dean's office and get a late pass.
Well, I think what started this all up was, yeah, exactly, the fake hats, understanding what you're supposed to.
That's another thing, though. Fundraisers, guys. If you're going to participate in the fundraiser, check out the legitimacy of it. That's where I was headed.
Yeah.
Check out the legitimacy. Like that one person made no sense. They said that their facility burned down, but there was never photos from the facility. There was always photos from their bedroom setup. But yet, $180-something thousand facility burned down with all their animals, and I was just like,
You'd see
"I'm
that.
calling
Insurance
bluff,"
wants to see that.
you know, like definitely bullshit, you know. So check out the validity. That's all I have to say. So,
Yeah.
no coffee. Get your coffee, Elliot. So that's another thing. I used to think Elliot was
A bot.
I used to think.
He came on Chino's live, and I saw him there, and I was like, all right, this is a good dude. I was like,
I actually met him on his birthday.
nice.
Yes, in real life. So he really does exist. And I was like, how does that? Matter of fact, we were at, I want to say, gosh, what show? I forgot what show we were at. It may have been Battlefield. Um, I think it was Battlefield. And he came up in conversation, and we were like, this guy's a freaking bot. He can't be real. So,
Yeah.
all right. So for all the late folks, sorry, man. I only do the start the show over for Jar Pythons when they show up late, every single one. But yeah, I got to meet Elliot. He actually took the day off. It was his birthday. We hooked up, got a coffee mug. So I gave you something to put in. I gave you a cup to put something in it, Elliot. All right, so go use it. But yeah, guys, we're at that hour mark, and like DTMG said, I'm gonna get in trouble from my boss. So, and I am starting to get Okay, let me just. I have some guys that are working somewhere, and the GC's
Yeah, but
texting me.
I gotta start my day in a few.
What are you talking about? You work for the federal government. You guys get free checks.
I don't work for the feds.
I tell you, I had that conversation with uh with Umbrella Steve the other day. So he's right and I'm wrong, and I hate being wrong, man. I
Yeah.
freaking hate. I hate being wrong. He's like, oh, but I thought. And I was like, no, no. He's just assigned to Jersey. Now I'm wrong. I
Yep.
hate being wrong. God, I'm gonna have to tell him that he was right and I was wrong. He's gonna milk it. He's gonna love it. Ugh, ugh.
I'm sure that
But
wasn't the end of the conversation there.
he heard me say it. He's here. he's he's talking in the background. You prick. You're a prick. I know, Angie. Jim is always late, right? Late to the party. Always, always, always. Oh man, I can't believe that Steve just heard me say that. Now I'm really tight. Now I'm really, really tight. All right, guys. It's been great. Again, like I said, I we don't want to be accused of harassing anyone. We don't want to be accused of bullying anyone. Um,
That dude
for
has
the
no clue who that we're even talking about. I mean, he's probably sitting in the chat right now. But
So just DM us. We'll tell you. So, so wait, for the record, I am the first to admit when they're wrong. It just rarely ever happens, guys. It's like a unicorn. You just saw a unicorn right now, okay? All right, you just saw a unicorn. Guys, John, first of all, thank you. Gosh, you've done all three shows. I got to get you on a show with Samson, and you'll be the only person to ever
yeah,
have done all four shows, okay? Um, But I want to thank everybody. We had a great group of people here. All few dozen of you that joined us for some coffee. I hope you all have an amazing day. I hope you guys, like I said, whatever hurdles you have, hump day is a great day to hump over those hurdles. And remember, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's the only way that you can be successful. John, I appreciate you, brother, for always being there and being a little gossipy golden girl with me today. The rest of you guys have a
yeah.
great, great day. And it was nice seeing all of you. Don't forget, guys, Thursdays, Bowling with Brian. Fridays, Keeper's Corner with Jason, a.k.a. Canilla Ice, a.k.a. Stick Up the Butt, a.k.a. every a.k.a. you could possibly imagine. Have a happy hump day, everybody.
Take it easy, guys.